Morning, everybody. Morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Today, I want to share something that's probably going to really mess up your whole day. I don't know if it's going to mess up your day, but it's going to make things kind of interesting. And I was up looking over some information pertaining to how to move forward in where we were going and some of the things. And like I tell everybody else, I am writing. I am writing every single solitary day. Can y'all see that? Yeah. Can y'all see that? I'm writing every day. And so I was writing last night. I was actually writing up till about 3 o'clock in the morning. And while I was writing, make sure you guys join YouTube. Join me on YouTube. It's at that link down at the bottom. While I was writing, I came across a passage that we quote a lot of things. We quote passages in scriptures and all these kind of things. And when we quote these passages in scripture, we quote them with the belief that, our own twist on them, and we really never look at them. Some of your greatest growth processes will be biblically based. They may not be they may not be spiritual based. They may be biblically based. And here is where a lot of people are going to get really upset with me. Really upset with me. The Bible as a book. Where is my Bible? Oh, my wife cleans my office, so she probably moves stuff all over. Number one thing about cameras, Gabby, never look back. Okay, the Bible. We take the Bible as a spiritual book. Oh, here it is. I knew it was there. Sorry. Here it is. We take the Bible as a spiritual book, and one of the greatest delusions. One of the greatest delusions that ever happened to the Christian, to the spiritual world, is the Bible. And I'll explain what I mean. One of the greatest things that has ever happened is the delusion of the Bible. Now, do I think the Bible is the Word of God? Yes, I do. Do I think the Bible is good for those people that want to be spiritual? Yes, I do. The problem that I have, and the problem that most of you probably have, is the Bible itself has been an icon for good and spiritual. The Bible has become an icon for good and spiritual. So what has happened is we've been given the Bible as a foundation for good people and a foundation for what God says to us and how He sees us and how He believes we should be. Let me grab my mic. I could put my mic here. So I want to help you understand some things that may not be something that you're comfortable with, but it'll be okay if you follow me. So all of you guys that are on Instagram, jump over to YouTube and you can kind of follow me. But this will be recorded. So make sure that you get your 10 people and follow that. Today, I'm going to talk about the misdirection of the Bible. Today on Higher Standards for the Higher Standards Chronicles. Hey guys, this is William Dallas, Higher Standards Chronicles, where we want to restore the spirit of your mind. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is probably going to be the most crazy, and this is why I use Friday. Friday is my day where I kind of discuss things the way I think. Now, understand something. These things are speculations with foundations, okay? Because one thing you have to understand when it comes to things, when you talk about spiritual things and biblical things and church things, it becomes this real oopy scoopy thing because everybody gravitates toward a religious dogma. That's just the way it is. We gravitate toward a religious dogma, and what we don't understand is within that religious dogma, there are those things that segregate us from other people. One of the greatest religious dogmas is the fact that believing that we're doing the work of God means I have to delete everybody else. So I have to tell everybody else we're doing the work of God. So here's where this is getting kind of crazy. Here's where this is going to get crazy. Here's where you got to go listen to this over again. Here's where it gets kind of crazy. The foundation for our battle is being a person that adheres to every passage in this book. So it adheres to the 66 books. Now, if you are a reader of the Bible, which I am, if you are a studier of the Bible, which I am, in certain circles, you're considered to be higher than everybody else. When you look at your situations, when you talk about your Catholic priests and some of your pastors, they really haven't studied the Bible as in ingesting the Bible as a part of their lives. What they've actually done is studied the Bible just enough that I can represent a leader or represent leadership to people, which means just enough information to show you that I'm better than you. Yeah. So what we've done is we've taken this book and we've set a foundation for this book, and we said, okay, everybody, if you are going to church, we started off, I remember, listen, I've been doing this thing for 30 years. I remember they said, if you don't have your sword, and which is this right here, you can't, what kind of Christian can you be if you don't have your sword? Now, logically speaking, I understand that. Spiritually speaking, I understand that. But God, logically speaking, I understand that. Religiously speaking, I understand it, because religion should be represented as a school type of thing. It should not be represented as a lifestyle. However, this book has turned it into a lifestyle. So follow me here. And I want you to follow me very closely. So what you have to realize in this process is when we came out of this thing, we have so many different, how do I want to say, dogmas and thought processes and beliefs about the Bible. Now, what I want you to understand is not the fact that I dislike the Bible or I think the Bible is a problem. I think the Bible is bad. I want you to understand that the advantage that was taken over you was the fact that I knew something that you didn't know. And so what I did is I set up an organization that benefited me so that I could give you the level of information I thought you should have pertaining to this book. So what happened is the Bible became a leverage point. Yeah, it became a leverage point. And so what happened in the leverage point of the Bible said we could all, now understand something, Christianity 101 was not just something that happened as a spiritual movement. It just wasn't something that just went, hey, we woke up one day and we decided we wanted church. We didn't gather together. Now, there is actually a passage in the Bible that speaks against religion and also speaks against what we call church. In the Bible, in this book. You're never going to hear pastors talk about it. You're going to get, and if you do hear about it, you're going to hear about it according to an interpretation. Listen, there are things that you probably don't know, and there are things that are not shared with you. Number one, you are considered not the children of God. Hear me, not the children of God. Only, I'll just say that, not the children of God. You are connected to God as the oneness of God. Now I want you to understand something. My children, I have 4. My children are me by blood connection, but they're not me by spirit. So to help people understand the connection of the spirit on this level, we were taught that we were children of God. Okay? And this is in the Bible. We're taught we're children of God. And I understand that logically. But the key to it, if you really understand spiritual, we're not really children of God. We are offsprings of who he is. We are sections of God. We are, how do I say this? We are a mechanism that comes from God. So there's a passage in the Bible. I'm not going to go over those passages because I'm not trying to let everybody know I know more Bible than you do. But there's a passage in the Bible that said God is love, and they that love are from God. Okay, so we know from God means children. So now here's the deal. So what happens is the Bible became a leverage point. So what happens is now I have to set a hierarchy. There is no such thing as hierarchy in the spirit. And it's okay. If you are a pastor or a church leader or whatever, call me up. We'll have this discussion. Because for years, I let the people, now this is William Dallas. For years, I let people that were termed as leaders guide my spiritual movement, not my spiritual growth. There's a difference. People that guide your spiritual growth and people that guide your spiritual movement are two totally different things. I remember I went to a church one time. I'll never forget this. And I had been preaching, I know, for about 10, maybe 15 years. And I go to this particular church. When I go to the church, they realize I'm Prophet Dallas or Pastor Dallas or Evangelist Dallas, whatever they want to call me. And that I travel around. And so this brother says, hey, why don't you come join our organization? And I said, well, I don't know. He said, well, if you join our organization, we can open some doors for you. We can do some different things for you. But he told me that I had to do something that wasn't led by the Spirit. At that time, I did not understand it because I was raised not by religion, but by my connection to God. I was raised to follow the movement of God. And because we were taught an alternative or an altered dogma, we in turn we became the butt of every religion, of every organization. See, we were never taught that the movement of God was health, being health is your soul. Slow down, Dallas. I wish above all that we're prosper. We never taught prosper. We were taught a prosperity message, which leaned on the leadership, never leaned on the people. Prosper, be in health as your soul prosper. So here's the thing you have to understand as a spiritual person. Number one, your level is to prosper. You are to be a spiritual person, is to be one of the wealthiest people on the planet. We were never taught that. We were taught to be the good people on the planet. Why? Because the dogma was teaching us that. That was the foundation. Why? Because if I taught you to be good, when I did something crazy, you ignored what I did crazy because you were trying to be good. I taught you to forgive me so that I could do all of the dirt that I wanted to do and gain all the money that I could gain and all this kind of stuff. Now, it's not all leaders, it was not all pastors. But as a general rule, we stopped focusing on God and we had a different focus, and focus became the Bible. And why did focus become the Bible? Because focus became the point of something that I could do that made you feel that you and I aren't the same. And I've literally heard this come out of pastors' mouths. I've heard this come out of leaders' mouths. I've literally heard this come out of their mouths. I've heard this happen to make you feel like you couldn't reach that prosperity, reach that spiritual place, or reach that church place. I was with a pastor. I will never forget this all the days of my life. And I told you Friday is my day. I'm not going to say any names. The person I'm talking about knows who they are. I have a friend of mine. And he's a friend, still a friend of mine. He was going to his neighborhood. He was going back and doing Bible study with the neighborhood. They're calling him saying, hey, come and teach us Bible study. So he goes to the pastor, who is also a friend of mine, and says, hey, I want to start doing Bible study in my neighborhood. He said, I don't think you're ready yet. Now, they're calling this young man and saying, come do Bible study. So I say to my friend, who is a leader, I say, listen, why don't you just go every Tuesday with him? And help him to learn or help him to teach. He goes, no. He needs more teaching. Okay. So the foundation that was set was a foundation that was set according to you, not according to God. According to you or not according to God. When I heard that, I realized something that I had been trained on for 15 years. I realized that I had been trained on the fact of making sure that I made sure the religion kept going. Then I realized that those people that were in leadership were not in leadership so that they could make sure what needed to happen spiritually took place. It was so that my family could make sure they had lineage, that this church would go on with my son, my daughter. And what happens, those children 9 times out of 10 didn't want to be bothered with it. Either their parent was abused too much or they saw the dirt that was happening in the background and they didn't want to be bothered with it. But the leader wanted it to happen because he wanted his family to be the next pastor, his family to be the next leader. It was never about, see, now when you look at the Bible, when you look at this, you see a purity of life that is not being shared or being seen by what we see. A oneness, we see a glory, we see a lack of racism. But what happened is this book became the leverage to keep you less than me. That's the key, to keep you in control, because the bottom line to this whole situation is you were an intricate part of the entire body. This is why they call it the body of Christ. And this book says this. It says it. It says it right here. It says you are an intricate part of the body. You follow me? And what happens is a lot of us have been, we've been hoodwinked. Because if I opened the Bible to the thing, here it is. Open the Bible to Ephesians 4:11. It says, and he gave some apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, teachers, and pastors and teachers for the perfecting of the saints, for the working of the ministry, for the edifying of the body, till we all come into the unity of the faith and the knowledge of the Son of God, and to a perfect measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. I want you to hear me very closely. I don't speak against churches. I'm not speaking against. What I want you to understand is that we have altered the teaching to be more inclined to make us better and give us what we want in our lives. I've met major pastors. I know major pastors. I can say some major pastors' names now. I probably don't know any of this present generation. Major pastors, and there's some good pastors out there, some great guys. And when I begin to share things with these guys, they begin to look at it like, wow, I never thought about that. Why? Because if I send you to work for a company, let's just say I send you to work for Apple or IBM, and you find out that IBM is doing something overseas that is really illegal or wrong or mean toward dogs or something like that, it was never presented to you as a situation where they were going, oh, we're hiring you to be an accountant, but we're killing deer, we're beating deer to death in Venezuela. That was never the case. The case was we gave you a job, and the job did well. You made a lot of money with the job. You got all this influence, all this clout, all these things when it came to the job, and you stayed with the job. The challenge that happened to that, when you find out what the job is doing, now you're kind of stuck because your lifestyle, your family, your house is being supplied by all these different things. That's the regular or carnal way to understand that. The problem that happened with this, well, here's the challenge, and I know one of my friends is going to say you should have said challenge. Here's the challenge. You ready? The challenge with that is you can make certain changes and it won't affect where you are, because the truth will always stand. The truth will always stand. I know a lot about business. A lot. But I have a friend that knows more. So according to the dogma we're teaching, according to religion, the person that knows more, I serve the person that knows more. That is the world that we live in. That's the world that we've been created. That is the economy that we live in. All of that. I serve the person that's bigger than me. I serve the person that knows more than I do. That's not the case in the spirit. By it not being the case in the spirit, what happens is he said to the unity of the faith. Now, what does that mean? Unity of faithfulness. We're all going in the same direction at the same time. My eyes work in and of themselves. The only command comes from the spirit of my mind, which is, I said, the spirit of my mind. Now, what is the spirit of my mind? That is the moment that my mind and my spirit are connected as one and bring a command to my body. So what happens here, now what you have to understand is this. There is nothing that says that you can't do the greatest things that are done on this planet. There's nothing to say you can't create a rocket, which is what happened. And one of the things I love about the millennials questioned everything. The millennials question every movement, and they believe. The challenge that the millennials have is there's a difference in information and a belief. So what happens is the millennials look at the information of the Bible and go, this information is skewed. But they never looked at the belief in the spirit that this was supposed to be created by. So you don't have a belief, and so you're tossed to and fro by every doctrine or wind of doctrine according to what the Bible says. Why? Because you don't have a foundational belief. And without a foundational belief, you no longer have a spiritual structure. Why? If you want a spiritual structure, there has to be a foundational belief. If you want a house, there has to be a foundation. If you want a car, there has to be a structure. If you want a body, there has to be a skeleton. There has to be a foundational belief that moves you from foundation to growth or foundation to elevation. The millennials have now questioned information but never understand spirit. And the reason we never understand spirit is because we have never encountered the spirit. We have never encountered the spirit. I never knew that until I started encountering the spirit. We have never encountered the spirit. And let me tell you how crazy this is. I'm going to give you a quick, now this is, guys, This is this week. This is not last week. It's not 2 years ago. I love people to go, oh yeah, it's not 2 years ago. This is why I do these things, because I'm trying to show you this is not something that takes place foreign to me. I'm not this strange being because I meditate and I pray that there's something greater about me than it is about you. I meditate and pray because I want to show you that it's working. I want to show you that it happens. I want to show you that it's possible. I do classes because I want to jumpstart you into where you can be to see what I'm telling you that's happening. And I don't know if he's on here. I don't know if he's on here. Let me see. He might be on here somewhere. Yeah, he might be on here somewhere. Okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He might be on here somewhere. So I'm going to do it this way because I don't want the project to be me and one of my partners are doing two different projects. And these are major projects. Each of these projects will produce somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 to $6 million. They're major projects. Now, I learned to partner with people that have vision of movement, that understand foundation and understand growth. There are very few of them out there. These people have to be a place where money does not mean anything between them. There are 5 people that are in my life that have money means nothing. If I go and say, hey, I need this, that person does that. They also get blessed. It's just a system. You got it? So we're working on this one particular project. So I write the project down and I say, okay, we're going to do this. I want to do this. Now I want to purchase this. So I got to figure out how to purchase this product. Let's just say I want to purchase hats. No, let's do it this way. I want to purchase 100,000 cameras. We're going to say cameras. It's not what we're talking about, but it's cameras, okay? I want to purchase 100,000 cameras. Got it. So here now, write down the process, idea, what I want to do with it, how it's going to work, all these kind of things. First thing I get is a person calls me and says, hey, I know how we can do this. I know how somebody can shuttle this. I know how somebody can happen this, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so basically, and I'll use the camera. So a person says, hey, I know how to use the camera. And I go, wow. That helps us out. When we start buying all these cameras, somebody knows how to use the cameras. Now we're talking about $1 million system. Somebody that knows how to use the cameras. So I'm sitting there and all of a sudden I get a phone call. Now I need to buy these cameras. So all I have to do is go to Best Buy, buy these cameras, and I have these cameras. You got to understand, your spirit is searching for ways to make things easier than what you can imagine in your own life. This is why I'm trying to jumpstart you guys. This is why I'm trying to do this class. Because guys, if you could do this in your life, do you understand the effort you don't have to have? Do you understand the effort that would go away? Because there's a passage that says, my yoke is easy, my burdens are light. Then you go back to Hebrews and it says, lay aside every sin and the weight and the burden, lay it aside. You're not supposed to be struggling with this thing. You're supposed to be faithful to it, but you're not supposed to struggle for it. Does it make sense? Got it. So yesterday, now we've been working on this for a week. Yesterday I get a phone call. When I get a phone call, because understand, your spirit is looking for opportunities to make what you are supposed to do and what you desire to do easy. That's what meditation and prayer is all about. That's why I put the thing. See, you don't understand. I put it on YouTube. Why? So at any moment, some people miss it, some people don't. They can go back and go, oh yeah, I heard this. I want to see this. Guys, I get a call yesterday. When I get a call yesterday after talking to the brother, and he said, oh, I understand you're trying to buy cameras. Yeah, I said, yes, I am. He said, I met the owner of Sony. I met the owner of the product you're trying to buy. Not only that, I met a person that has the product, donated to him so he could help people learn about the product. See, you've been caught in this thing so long. And hear me very closely. I'm going to take a side step. The problem that most people have when it comes to religion is this. Who interprets it? Who doesn't interpret it? Who interprets it right? Who knows God? Who doesn't know God? That's the problem. So what happens is between where you want to go, I'm going to do this right there. Between where you are and where you want to go, you're stuck between this. You're stuck at dogma. Should I drink? Should I cuss? Should I have sex? Should I not have sex? Should I like white people? Should I like black people? You're stuck between the laws of movement and you're not moving. When I did the spiritual retreat, all those things that went crazy about the spiritual retreat, you know what I kept getting? I don't want to travel by myself. I kept getting, I'm afraid of COVID. I never got COVID. That's not. I'm afraid. We got all the things that the retreat was supposed to fix were the things that kept you from coming to the retreat. That was tripping me out. I'm like, okay, I got this. Now, I understand, because if these things weren't in place, then we wouldn't need the retreat. This gentleman called me and said, I met the guy that owns it. I know the guy that owns it. So I simply have to write the vision down, present it to the guy. And what happens is, where I would have had to spend millions of dollars, I may not have to spend a dime. And it came because I started living a spiritual life. Not a life that's based on religion. I have a friend of mine, I don't know if he's still on here. I have a friend of mine that he's a scuba friend, so he'll know who I am, who he is. I have a friend of mine that's a scuba friend. And when I met them, I instantaneously liked them. He sat down and he was talking to me. And when he began to talk to me, he began to share something about his life. And when he shared something about his life, I realized how great a guy he actually was. How great a guy actually was. So a product, while he was on vacation, something happened to one of the things he had on vacation, and it just so happens we're coming to the same vacation that they were coming to. So we were going to be in the same area. So I said to them, he said to me, hey, I lost something. Would you go get it for me? I go, fine. So I go to the store. Now, he doesn't know I hunt 3 stores to find what this gentleman wants. Now, hear me very closely. Here's what people have taught you, and here's what I want you to know. He doesn't know that I hunt 3 stores. I was driving all around the city trying to find what he asked me to find. And I was excited when I found it because I wanted to be a benefit. I like that kind of stuff. I don't like things because of leverage. I don't like things because of leverage. My ride's here. I don't like them because of leverage. So I searched these stores, and when I got it, I sent the information over. I did all that kind of stuff. And once I did that, he said that he appreciated it. But what he didn't understand, and what he probably will understand now, is it had nothing to do with me appreciating it. It had to do with I am a person that is a spiritual person. If someone is in need, it's my job to try to help the need as much as I can. But it's never, hear me guys, need is never supplied by your supply. Need is supplied by your overflow, never by your supply. So he asked me about some things about when it came to business. And I appreciate it. I really do. And I really hope that we're able to do it, but it doesn't determine whether we stay friends or not. Here's the thing that you have to understand, and this is the thing that this book had to create for me. Because I live in an avenue that is a blessing to me, doesn't mean I'm obligated to share that blessing with you. I may share the overflow of the blessing. I may make $1 million and take everybody to dinner or give everybody $1,000. I may do that, but it is not my job for me to give you what God held me responsible for. That's like me telling you to take care of my wife. But here's the key. If you do it, it's a benefit. If you don't, I can't change how I feel about you because you won't let me take care of your wife. See, what this has done is told you that everything that everybody has belongs to everybody. But it was amazing to me that there are those, and I say jets all the time, there are those pastors that have jets. And if you ask them, can I borrow your jet because I want to take my family on vacation to Florida, they look at it and say, no, this is for ministry. But I promise you, you take your family, you don't fly your family commercial. Why? Because it's never about oneness. What it is about is each person establishing the foundation of what you're called to do. And if that benefit crosses my path, then the supply is there. I didn't care about the money for that camera. But the world says that outside, and even the world says, you're going to come back to me one day and start going, hey man, didn't I? I could care. Listen, everybody that is on here, everybody that's on YouTube, everybody that's on Instagram, right now, you've spent money that you're never going to see back in your entire life. The difference in you spending money and somebody else spending money is they spend money as an investment. You spend money as an emotion. Everything should be an investment. You know what my investment was? My investment was in that young man. And not so he could give me millions of dollars. My job, hear me guys, my job for you is to invest enough in you that you can live the life that you want to live. Why? Because as I fulfill what I'm supposed to do, my spirit begins to unify more with God and I get what's required for me. God is so good to me. I can't even. So I want you to see this. I put together a plan less than a week. After I put together a plan less than a week, a plan that is it's like me telling you to go do something that is so far out of your character and your capability that it actually blows your mind. I tell you, for example, I talked to one of the guys the other day. I said, I'm gonna help you do for the next 5 years to have $10 million in your life. This is what you need to do. This. He said that, he looked at me like I was crazy. Why? Because in his mind, he could not conceive having $10 million. It's the same thing I tell you. Say, okay, I'm going to show you how to get $10 million. That's what just happened to me. And not only did I come $10 million, because I'm in the process of the Spirit and I listen to what the Spirit is saying. It's not the situation I hear a loud voice. I'm guided by that Spirit. Because of that, my task is to teach this. I've done business consulting. I have a company called Business World Development, does business consulting. We do business plans, credit. We do all that stuff to get you funded. We have that right now. One day I get up, I understand that this is my job. My job is to get you to see this. It is so wonderful that it's hard for me to explain to people because it's so wonderful. I have a great wife. Now, do I have trials? Yes, I'm human. But my trials aren't trials. My trials are opportunities to show my foundation is strong and I can't be shaken. That's when something comes up to me, I go, that's not gonna shake me. Not gonna shake me. It's not gonna shake me. We had an incident last night. My wife was supposed to meet me about an hour. She ended up being gone for 3 hours. So I got up, came in my room, sat down. Came in my office, sat down, and started to work. And my wife came in and she goes, I am so sorry. I apologize. Please forgive me. I didn't mean to be gone. I apologize. And she stood there, and as she stood there, I said, I know. I felt crazy about that. I really wanted to do that. I really, really, really wanted us to do this today. And she said, I apologize. And she apologized. I said, okay, well, the mere fact you apologize, it's over. And she looked at me like she said, you're not smiling. I said, I'm smiling. I'm happy. I didn't have time to sit and go through the process of that. See, what religion has done to you has put everything that you desire has a wedge between it now. You want to be rich. You got all these different things spiritually. You got all these different segregations, all these different things that happen. Do people like me? Do people not like me? So what happens is we've gained an opportunity to hide behind the Bible instead of dealing with ourselves, because the things that we deal with, we're stronger than, but because we've been taught to be less than the priest, less than the pastor, less than the prophet, we're taught to be less than, we feel like we can't do it. That's why I love that young man, the scuba dude. Because he does what he does and he says what he means. Now, what he does for me has absolutely nothing to do to determine. When you get out the fact of what people do for you makes them nice or not nice, the actual Bible passage, the actual law, the spiritual law is this. If you want friends, you must first make yourself friendly. So if I want to be his friend, spiritual law says, guess what? Spiritual law says I have to first make myself friendly. Now, how do I make myself friendly? The spiritual law says, I'm going to stop saying that. Spiritual law says I have to give myself for the destination. Now, what does that mean? That means make a sacrifice. Now, what I just teach you, you don't make a sacrifice from your supply, you make your sacrifice from your overflow. Had I not had the ability to do what he asked me to do, I would tell him like, man, I can't do it. If that would cause you not to be my friend, you were never my friend in the first place. Why? Because my capabilities to do something should not determine whether you're my friend or whether you're not my friend. That's a spiritual law. How I do things in my life do not determine my love for you or my dislike for you. That's biblical. That's biblical stuff. That's that low end stuff. Going to church and wondering how come I can't sing my song. You must not like me. How come I can't preach my prayer? All that stuff. That's petty stuff. Which is it's what you weave out of when you're dealing with religion. We have been given we've been given laws to take us to the next level. If you go through this thing and really go through it, get rid of the characters. I get so much flack with that. Get rid of the characters. You're not Moses. You're not Elijah. You're not anybody in this Bible. You're not anybody in this Bible as much as if you stand in a garage, you're a car. If you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that means you're rich. You're not anybody in the Bible. This is a way to learn the way to move spiritually. And if you look at it that way, then you stop looking at it the way say, I should drink wine, I shouldn't drink wine, I should have this, I shouldn't have this, I shouldn't this, I shouldn't do this. There's a Bible, there's a passage that says every man should be the husband of one wife. There are religions that believe you can have more than one wife. Are you wrong or are they wrong? But if you deal with your life and the interpretation of your life, then what you will understand is you are not called to make sure, oh my God, please hear me. You are not called to make sure I live my life. You're called to live your life, and the light from your life will cause me to see myself in the mirror. When Kendra and I first got married, what time is it? Oh, I'm getting time. When Kendra and I first got married, we were love at first sight. I never saw her before. As a matter of fact, we connected so fast that the girl that wanted to date me at the time got mad at me because she thought Kendra and I had been dating. I had never laid eyes on this girl before in my entire life. She is not somebody like my best friend's girlfriend or her cousin. I went to an event. She was there. I met her. We got married. Now there's a lot more stuff to it. So when we got married, we did not get married like everybody else. Well, when we get married to get a house, we got married like I love you. We just connected. We just like I don't want to be away from you. So Kendra would be around me all the time, and because of the way I work for myself, and even at that time I worked for me. And long story. So she wanted to be around me all the time. So when we went to dinner, we didn't sit face to face. We sat side to side. It wasn't us trying to tell anybody what I wanted to be around this woman. She wanted to be around me. It wasn't about us trying to tell people you right or you wrong. That's just the way it was. We would go to restaurants and we wouldn't sit. We would tell them, no, we can't have a little table. We need a big table because we sit side by side. We eat touching. Kendra wants to touch William. William wants to touch Kendra. After a while, the light began to shine. I opened the door for my wife. Can she open the door herself? Yeah, I opened the door for my wife. I sit beside her. And I start to watch as I went into restaurants as men would slide from one side of the table and go to the other side and sit with them. I watch other men, as I open the door, they would look at their wives and the girls would look at them and say, why don't you open the door for me? I never told them they were wrong. It was okay if you sat across the table. Gazing into her eyes is just as wonderful as sitting beside her. But we chose this. Anybody that tries to pump this down your throat and tell you that you're not this because of that, they are wrong. The spiritual law says this: let your light so shine before men that they will see your good works and realize you're spiritual. That's spiritual law. Spiritual law does not beat them in the head because they drink, beat them in the head because they curse, beat them in the head. That's not spiritual law. What that is religion. And religion wants to get you to make sure that you got a couple of points. How many people did you get saved? This is not some type of sales qualifier. Your job is to light your life. Your life is such a light that it makes other people. My job is to live the life that makes you want to live a better life. That's my job. That's my job. Now, my job is not to tell you, hey, this is what you need to do and you follow me. My wife asked me the other day, she said, are you starting a church? I said, it's been laid on my heart to be a worldwide help to spiritual law. That my job is to get you from running to the Baptist church because you feel like you're doing something great in heaven because you go to the Baptist church, because you go to the Church of God, you go to the Catholic church, because you go. My job is to let you know that he's not looking at your seat on the third row on the left. He's not looking at that. What he's looking at is how you treat people. Here's another thing that Bible has taught you. It's taught you to treat people, be good to people. Yeah, this ain't gonna go over too well. It's all right. This is not gonna go over too well. Send people, listen, go to YouTube, send people to this YouTube because they're not gonna believe you when you try to tell them. They're not gonna believe you. I'm just telling you, they're not gonna believe you. So, see you later, Adam. So here's the thing. So it says you have to be nice to people. Okay, so everybody is going around because the second level of spirituality is Christianity. So Christianity says I'm working out my soul salvation with fear and trembling. That's the spiritual law. Second level, working out my soul salvation. I'm working out the salvation of the mindset with fear and trembling. So you are nice to everybody. Here's the thing that we don't teach. Here's the thing that Bible says, but religion doesn't teach. Nice is not nice. Nice is truthful. Nice is not nice. Nice is truthful. And so what people are finding is they're looking at nice over truthful. So what's nice? Nice is spiritual principle, spiritual law. I chasten those I love. So nice means, and chasten doesn't mean speak. Chasten means keep you in line with your destiny. So I chasten those I love. Let's go to my friend, my friend that's in that I told you, my scuba friend. So my scuba friend makes a lot of money in a specific industry. Okay, so if I go into that industry, the same industry he's in, and I begin to do things like cut corners and do this kind of stuff, for him to say he's supposed to be nice, love your neighbors and love yourself, he's supposed to come to me and say, listen, you my boy, I love you, anything you need, I got you, but this is not right. Why? I'm in the industry that nice is not going, okay man, I got your back. No, nice is not getting your back in the wrong. Nice is giving you the truth when you don't even want to know the truth. Nice is putting you in a position where you're going, listen, I love you, and because I love you, I've got to chasten the movement. I got to sculpture the movement so you'll move in the right place. It is not always being nice. It is not giving people out of your supply. It is not sacrificing yourself and your movement for someone. The reason I am not a billionaire right now is because I was a Christian and I was doing Christian stuff when I was supposed to be doing godly stuff or spiritual stuff and taking me to a billion. Why? My job, your job, our job is not to take care of the world. It's to make sure that as I take care of my family, those that are around can help me or I can help them. If I'm going down to the mall and you're at the corner, I don't care who you are. I'm already going to the mall. That's not a sacrifice for me. Hop in the car, let's go. I don't care if I'm driving a $14 billion Bentley. Why? It's a car. It's a freaking car. But our job is not to be nice. Our job is to be truthful. Told people I don't do affirmations and chants and all that kind of stuff. I speak truth. And when your mind knows it's truth and your heart knows it's truth, it responds to truth. You keep giving it truth, it responds to truth. But if you give it a lie sometimes and the truth sometimes, it becomes confused. It becomes confused. And so what I find is I had to learn that the system, and I'm going to tell y'all a story. Let me tell you something else. Because see, religion, I'm just using Bible. I'm going to tell you, and I just saw something, I think, Drea. I saw something Drea said, and this is, again, it's about truth. Let me tell you something. So the young lady, do you remember the young lady I told you years ago? If you follow me, you know who I am, who I'm talking about. The young lady that took our $5,000. They took our $5,000 and basically disappeared. Promise she's gonna give it. She ain't giving it to this. She hasn't given it to this point. Promise she's gonna give me the $5,000. I'm gonna teach you a law. I'm gonna teach you a law, guys, and I need you to hear this law because what happens is we grab things. We grab onto things and we want these things to justify how we feel. Let me teach you this. So she took out $5,000, and when she took out $5,000, she never called us back. And I had two things that people tell me. Oh, she reaped what she sowed, and karma is a bee. And these are two things they told me, which didn't get my money back, which didn't move me any closer to what I needed to do. So I'm down in my meditation one time, and in my meditation, this is what I hear. I'm going to teach you a universal law. She said universal. And I'm going to teach you a spiritual law. Okay? Here's a spiritual law. The spiritual law is nothing is going to happen to her. Charles Manson killed people for years. Killed them, killed children. Nothing happened to him. All these people that are doing all this dirt, all this wrong, we want to yell karma. We yell reap what you sow. What they did was not going to cause karma. Karma doesn't come to them. But we want something bad, because I want it so desperately bad for her to get something to get her like it got me. But I'm going to tell you what I learned. Everybody has a process. In the destiny of that process, your process is shortened by the things that you do. But it's not according to you. This woman won't have cancer. Nothing bad will happen to her, because within everything we do, there's a part of us that wants to do it. Every once in a while in our lives, we do things and we're totally tricked. When things are done and you're totally tricked, karma kicks in, because they totally fooled you. And karma is not always what you think karma is going to be. Reaping and sowing is not always what you think reaping and sowing is. Just like the same situation. When you sow something, you're going to reap something. So if you give money, you want to get money back, but you may get favor. You want to get something back, but you may get favor. So here's the thing I need you to understand. First of all, karma is real. Just let's say that on the rip. The key we have to understand, because we try to do the spiritual part. We want to do it the way we believe the spiritual, what we've been taught. I had to learn that, because I was taught that God did this and God did this and God is watching this and God is this, when that was never the case. It was simply what they had interpreted out of the Bible and gave it to me so that they would feel like I was the person that they could tell me what to do. Remember the church I told you to? He told me I couldn't go preach anywhere until he told me to. But I've been doing it for 15 years and I was good at it. And I was led by the Spirit. He told me I couldn't go there. So I'm saying that to say this. Here's the deal. If you understand the life you live, nothing takes you off track. Nothing takes you off track. See, I don't even address things that people do to me. If karma is a thing, it's a thing on its own. I don't have time to think about it. If reaping and sowing I don't have time to think about it, because I've got a goal. And my goal is a spiritual goal. So I don't even sit down. If I study, hold on. Do I have? Oh man, guys, I don't have it. I study this book, and I study other books. I'm studying quantum theory, quantum physics right now. Why? Because I have to realize this was not the book for my life. This is the book for my spirit. And so when I get to the spirit, I live in this world. I live every day. This is not a spiritual, it's a box. But I have to know how to use this box. I can't just pray, I have to know how to use the box. So I learned how to use the box. I have a business. I have to learn how to use the business. But the foundation, was I told you, that's the time, the millennium, my foundation is spiritual. So I don't go in here and see what Moses does. I go in here and look at a principle that says, lay aside every weight, cast your cares on me. I look at those principles according to a spiritual movement and not a carnal movement. As much as I pray, my body is different than yours. I can do things with my body that you may not be able to do at the same age. You may be younger than me. Why? I've learned not to complain my way out of anything. I've learned not to talk my way out of anything. And I've learned the power of my mind. It is not thinking positive. It is not allowing anything in there that does not move me forward to where I go. I tell everybody the same thing. I know that there is such thing as healing. It says it. It's a spiritual law. Healing is a spiritual law. But what you have to understand is that healing that's a spiritual law is not just spiritual. It's a spiritual law, but it's not just spiritual. Healing could be how you eat. Healing could be you drinking water. Healing could be supernatural. You can wake up one day and it's gone. Healing could be your meditation. Healing could be your prayer. Healing could come because healing is in the world. But we have said, I got to lay hands on you, or somebody that is over you has to touch you, when the only person that's over you to touch you is God, Yahweh. the universe. I don't care what you call him. Alpha and Omega. I don't care what you call him. You follow me? It doesn't make a difference to me. What I want to know and want you to understand is if you have a spiritual concept, and when you have a spiritual concept, when you really get into a point, and this is what I'm trying to teach you guys, when you really get into a point of a spiritual concept, nothing is spiritual law impossible for you. This holds the laws of the Spirit. That's all this is. And I don't have my other book, or I will show you my other book. This holds the spiritual laws. It does not hold you in religion. It holds spiritual laws. That's just the way that is. It holds spiritual law. And when you understand that, you understand that the power you possess is already yours. You have to ignite it through the ability to understand spiritual law. You ready? I'm going to say this, then I'm going to get out of here. Spiritual law is as real as gravity. If you learn how to work the spiritual law, you learn how to benefit from the Spirit. That's what this is all about. This is not learning how to go to church. Anybody that takes this book and tells you, see, the Bible tells you need to take care of the household of God before you take care of your household. You are the household of God. This book is a selfish book. It is about building yourself up to the point that you shine to other people, not so they glorify you, but they say, I see a way out. This is what this is all about. So any of these things that you see people doing, running around trying to wear certain clothes and doing all these kind of things, I understand it. It's okay. That's your walk. That's not my walk. I learned about stones. I learned about spirits. I learned about auras. I learned about quantum physics. I learned about all of that stuff. But I learned one thing more than anything else. All of those things are so people can feel like they're in the Spirit. I've so many times seen people that are bitter toward religion. And so what they do is they come up with their own thing. And all it does is fight against religion. Who cares? Who cares, people? Stop fighting against religion. You want to do something, take your effort to get with somebody, connect with somebody, and you guys grow something and build something. That you want to do that? Build something. Every community in the world gets together and builds something. I tell this story all the time. If you ever watch The Incredibles, the first video of The Incredibles, the person that directed it and the person that created it never got along. Look at it. It's in there. They never got along, but they started Pixar to where Pixar is today. Can you be spiritual enough that you can connect to something that does not do for your flesh, that does not make sense to your atmosphere, but is a goal to the next level? When you can get out of the fact that I'm saying, I'm a Christian. I'm human. What are you looking for? Do you go to church? Why is that important? Well, because in church, it represents you're a good person. How many women have been turned upside down, literally and figuratively, because they thought the man was a saved man? You're not looking for a man that is saved. Just throw this out here. You're not looking for a man that is saved. You're not looking for a man that has a job. You're not looking for a man that loves his mama. You're looking for a man that has a foundation that says, I will take you with me as I go someplace else. Your influence to me as a man helps me get there. But if you don't give me that influence, I'm going to get there. I love you enough that I will cover you. I will take care of you. But I'm going to that next level. If what you're doing right now before we get married hinders that level, you and I are not the one. But if you can come into my life and you can build on the level of where I'm going, we'll have the greatest life we've ever had. Men have gotten to the point that they do not have a vision. They are not spiritual. And what we've done is try to define them by religion, which is the lowest level of spirituality. But the highest level is say what I mean what I say, and understand that one plants, one waters, God gives the increase. And if I am faithful, if I have faith, if I am focused on that destination, God will take it from there. He'll take it from there. Dude, the owner. Are y'all hearing me? And this is not a cheap company. This is a multi-million. He knows the owner. He knows the owner. The owner. He knows the owner. Let me turn this down because he's not going to let me finish. So I'm going to have to ignore him now. He knows the owner. And because he knows the owner, I now have the capabilities to go to the next level. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. Why? Because you are not somebody that God is sent to be controlled. You're sent to have this thing. So let me help you out. Okay? Here's your spiritual concepts. These are where your spiritual. These are spiritual law. This is where the law. This is the book with all the book. We have the law. We have the Black's book of law. This is the spiritual book of law. So you learn the spiritual book of law. This was not put together so you can have somebody to serve and somebody to serve under. I'm going to do a class called "The Truth About Church," that religion doesn't want you to know. Truth about church that religion doesn't want you to know. I was going to do it today, but I didn't have all my stuff together. So that's your spiritual law. If you want to learn about being a lawyer, you learn their law. If you want to learn about doing plumbing, you learn their law. You want to learn how to get to the next level when it comes to spiritual? I'll teach you that. Everybody, understand something. This is your foundation. You have a spiritual foundation. Everything on top of that should pour into that foundation. Everything on top of that should pour into that foundation. It should not be the foundation. It should pour into the foundation. But if you don't have a foundation, every time information comes, you're following the next piece of information. So you should let it should follow into the information. The reason I'm doing the spiritual class, the spiritual class, is because I need you to get to the point that you're not moved because something happens. I need you to be able to understand how to be aware. Right now, you have a vision. Let's say you want to start whatever business you want to start, whatever relationship you want to start, whatever project you want to start. If you don't understand how to operate in the spirit of that project, you're working on the most frail part of yourself. The most frail part is your physical. Your physical is the most frail. Your mental is not frail, it's powerful. Your spiritual is not frail, it's universal. You're working on frail. So if you're just grinding this thing out, every day grinding it out, and don't have a spiritual foundation, you're missing a part of the aspect that can show you stuff that you didn't see. There is no way in this world I would have thought in my mind that I'm going to meet the owner. That's not even a concept. Much less thought somebody would bring him to me. I'm just me. You're just you. But the just you is so much powerful than you think you are. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You're not just you. You are the desire and the design that God placed here. And I can't talk about all of it today because I don't really have a whole lot of time. Only got 2 minutes. Again, Monday, guys, Monday is Instagram Monday. We'll be on Instagram Monday. But since I'm doing this like this, I might just set up a screen so that I can have an Instagram screen and have a Facebook screen and have a YouTube screen. I might do that. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I might do that. I might do that. So I'm saying that to say this. I hope this has taught you something. Everything we talked about will not be on Instagram. It will be on YouTube. So if you want to see it, go back over it. Listen to it over and over again. I advise you to do it. Make sure you like the video, little thumb at the bottom, give it a thumbs up, like the video, and I'll make sure you subscribe so that when we do different things that are not on my morning show, that you'll be there, number one. Number two, these shows I'm not going to do every day. I'm going to start doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I need time to study. I need time to build. I need time to put things together until I get somebody that comes in and does the production or directing for my show. We're going to go to some different places. I'm going to set up some different locations and some other stuff, meet some people. We're going to interview some people. A whole bunch of things are taking place, and we just need to make sure that I have time to do it. So now it's going to be Monday on Instagram. Well, maybe Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday across the board once I get all the cameras together. So, I just wanted to say thank you for that. I just wanted to say all of those things. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Again, it's on YouTube, and we're going to YouTube. Haven't started marketing yet. Haven't started advertising yet. I just kind of did what I'm doing and doing what I'm doing because I know that there's a need. Right now, there's a need. All right? And my ear itches. Okay? Those of you that are on YouTube, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for being part. I'm William Dallas. This is the Higher Standards Chronicles. And my goal is to make sure I restore you to the spirit of your mind. I will see you on Monday. All right? Peace.